Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hey everyone, welcome back with me. In this video, maybe I will review about the OS that I'm using since last January until now, which is Linux, especially on Fedora distribution. So, from last January this year, I'm using Linux as my main OS after several consider. The first is the freedom for using, especially for developer, I guess, because Linux was known as a developer's operating system. So I feel more Linux give us freedom or a lot of privilege to support the development process. And this video will talk about 3 points that have a correlation with this OS. And this is based on my experience after using Linux for maybe 4 months. And the first is the comfortable. Since I moved to Linux, I feel like more easier to manage or downloading package dependency or software for developer now especially. But I think when we want to install some application, it's not as simple in Windows. But after that, we have we will used to install application in Linux. For example, in Windows, the Python library is not built in the OS, but in Linux, Python was already exists in system. So when I want to download in a package from Linux, for Python and Linux, I don't have to download it anymore. Maybe we will check in terminal. Python. Okay, so the Python will already exist in the system, and I don't have to download it anymore. And I never download Python manually before. So this start or I realize it when I want to make a Python projects. So when I trying to looking for Python version for checking if the Python was already exist in my laptop or not, the Python was already exist, so I just immediately build the projects. And when, for example, for in maybe for a lot of our project, because I make a lot of Laravel projects. When we want to run the Laravel in local, we need the tools called, maybe we need Nginx, Apache, or Nginx, Apache, and maybe Nginx and Apache, and that tools was managed by one software called Laragon or XMPP. And I want to tell you, Laragon was make our development process on Laravel much easier, because we just maybe in Laragon we just plug and play, click and play. All the tools are completely in one software. But in Linux, it run with a different way. Nginx, Apache, and a lot of web server are run natively in Linux. So if we want to use that three tools, we have to configure it manually. But after we configure it, it will run with the best performance, because Linux is the maybe home for those tools. But uh, configure those tools will eat a lot of time or wasting time. So using that three tools instead, I using Docker as web server. And running Docker is, yeah, uh, more simple, because in Laravel I just have to run Laravel composer require Laravel sale, yeah. Even meanwhile we have to download composer into the system, but after composer I using composer just only for downloading the Laravel dependency. After that I using Docker for maybe pp artisan, using pp artisan instead I using shell artisan to run all pp artisan command in my laptop. And we don't have to add environment variable because in Windows we sometimes we if we want to install the package or the tools we have to take a permission or do it as administrator. In Linux we don't have to do that because all the system was recognize the tools as a software program. So it make our life as a developer more simpler, more more easier. And the second is the customization. Honestly, one point that I considering to move from Windows to Linux was the interface or the desktop environment. I using Fedora, which is using Wayland and GNOME as it desktop environment, and it have like a Mac OS like desktop environment, desktop. So if you see, we have a top bar. In top bar, it also have like a daytime, and maybe in Windows we call it what do you call it? So maybe we have a battery and Wi-Fi signal, sound, and like system notification in top bar. And for application, we have this. In Linux, we call it dash, but uh, it seems like dock in macOS. And also, in Linux, we have more freedom to customize our desktop environment or our system. For example, I have some configuration in my desktop environment. I installing some extension and more things. So this how my desktop was look like. So it have a dash to dock, maybe it called dock in macOS, and the system tray, and if we want to application, if we want to click or see what application does we have, we just swipe with 3 fingers and we have all of internet all of application that we installed in our system. Okay, so and also if we want to the faster way, I also installed, I forget the name of extension, but it's same like Spotlight in macOS. This maybe nah. For example, I want to run Brave. Okay, so it's run as like a Spotlight in macOS. So yeah, that one point, one of the lot point that I why I choosing Linux or I switching to into Linux from Windows, because Linux have a yeah maybe cool configuration or cool desktop environment, so I can maybe my desktop being more cleaner or prettier. Okay, and the third is about the system itself. Linux, one very small in my laptop spec especially. Linux can run in maybe can run optimally in a laptop with 6 GB RAM. My laptop has 24 GB have RAM, so it very 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 faster and very optimal to run Linux in my spec. And also I have Intel Core i5 with 12th generation, And so Linux being more lighter than Windows. You can see in I have like a run cat for tracking the CPU performance. In idle, in no, this is not idle because I already opened several application. It just only the CPU just only running 6% or now 10%. But in Windows, I just only open three apps: Terminal, Netflix, and OBS. But maybe in Windows it have running maybe up to 20% or 50%. It's up to 50%. So it using or wasting a lot of resource that we have in Linux. So maybe we immediately look into the system monitor. So the resource, as you can see, this how Linux run in my laptop spec. So it's so light, and the memory just waiting about 4 GB or 70% in my laptop. So it's Linux being more faster and lighter than Windows in my laptop. Maybe Windows is also light in my laptop, but Linux is lighter than uh, Windows. Okay, so maybe that's 3 points that why I moved from Windows to Linux, and I feel more comfortable after using for 4 months, and I don't think I will return back into the Windows. Maybe I will still in Linux because it's feature and it's how it's run in my laptop. Okay, maybe that's it from me. See you next time.